it's me again. So today I want to talk about what are the steps required to break free, like how to break free, like completely be free from what we used to do, how we used to think, and what we used to feel, especially when we talk about we're feeling stuck and feeling hurt. How can we do that? Perhaps today I'm going to share with you very basic steps that actually basically it works for pretty much everything for everyone if you really stick to the steps. Let me just break it down to you. So it wasn't for the purpose for you to read it, it's more like for me to read it out because I just wrote it down, so that way I make sure I want to cover all the steps that is required so that you know and get the idea of it. So obviously I always talk about mindfulness practice as becoming the number one thing I want to talk about, because without doing the mindfulness practice we won't necessarily be able to raise the awareness. So step one is always do your daily exercise, right? Tune in. Just like going to the gym, you want to tone up your muscle, you got to do that. You want to tone up the muscle up here. You want to get into the habit, right? You want to train your mind to be comfortable, emotionally feeling comfortable, not reluctant to do this. So step one, mindfulness practice. Simple breathing. That's what I said before. You take 5 minutes or even less at any time, any given day, just to do that as needed. Okay. When you're able to do the mindfulness practice, just to bring your attention back to your breathing, just do that on a regular basis, then your awareness will arise. You will be becoming more in tune. You will become more in tune with your body, with your emotions, with everything around you. Yes, it's almost like becoming Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Everything becomes so clear, right? You're becoming more aware of everything, sounds, movement, and everything around you. So that's the step two. After you're able to plug into the mindfulness practice, eventually you're going to come to this awareness coming up to the surface. You are becoming more aware, right? After that, number three, that's when good things starting to change. When you're able to raise the awareness often enough and frequent enough, then you will start to realize the way you see the world is starting to shift. You don't even have to try really hard, because you will be able to slow down and see things for what they truly are for the first time. Okay, so you have the ability, and that ability is developed over time by simply raising your awareness, going back to step two. Simple enough, right? So after your perception has been shifted and you're going to see for what it is and see the truth of what is truly going on. Like the last video, I talk about that, how I realize that I take things very personally again, right? To realize that that is the awareness. And it's the important step to really help me to really make the shift in my perspective, okay? So once your perception has been shifted, you're going to see the truth, starting to see the truth. Now you have to acknowledge the fact that there's a conflicting feelings, because it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to make you feel so angry and pissed off, because you'll be like, wait a second, I'm feeling completely differently even though I'm aware of something else is happening, truly happening. What am I supposed to do? This is the time that you really want to identify and acknowledge your emotions, your feelings, all those like turmoil, like feeling all this crappy stuff coming up. And you want to be able to acknowledge all those feelings and also your limiting belief. So in my case earlier, in the last video, I said that I was really just surprised because I can feel those emotions all over me, because I was like, you can't treat that to customers. You cannot treat customer like me while I'm trying to do the right thing, right? So I make everything all about me, but it's not, right? So those feelings and emotions are very overpowering. Okay, so when something's so overwhelmingly making you to feel that coming out from you, then you just have to acknowledge those feelings, emotions, the thought process, recognize it. Some of the old belief systems stuck in our head since the day that you were born, right? That's pretty massive. And that's not just something happened overnight. So just acknowledge that, right? After you acknowledge those feelings, emotions, now it's time to find the tools that work for you. For me, I do energy work. It's not necessarily Reiki. I do different types of energy work besides Reiki. It could be emotional freedom technique, which is an excellent tool because you don't have to meditate, you don't have to close your eyes, you don't have to tune in, you just do it by tapping. Okay. Now, some people will use a NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Okay. And of course, there are many other tools out there that perhaps that will resonate with you, and then you know it works better for you. Okay, everybody's different. Okay, so find the right tools. So you have to be able to kind of prepare and know that when something comes up, what will I use the most, or what will be the first thing I will think right off the bat? I will use that approach. I use my breathing and tapping, and then energy healing. I use those three. Those three are my top tools in my toolbox. Okay, that's just me. Doesn't have to be you. You just have to figure out. That's an important step, right? So now, after you're able to figure out the tools and know what to do, meaning once you're familiar with the tools, using the tools to release all those emotions, all those crappy stuff, and all those crazy toxic thought pattern and belief systems that don't serve you anymore. After you release them, then the last step, which is very important, most hypnotherapists will understand this concept really well. As you're removing an old belief system, you really want to be able to replace with something that is more positive and productive, and hopefully more loving, right? So through this releasing process, hopefully you can include the components of like forgiveness and healing aspect of it, okay? Rather than being really harsh and critical about yourself, feeling like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I put myself into this like situation for so many years, and I can't believe I do this to myself. Even for those, release them in a loving way, okay? Not to judge yourself, but rather than, hey, it took me a little bit longer time. I got stuck for a little bit longer time, but I'm finally able to see for what is really happening now. So I'm making peace and giving the gratitude for the opportunity for me to be able to see it for the first time ever, and recognize it and embrace it, and then release it with love and light and peace, right? So you do that, then you replace with the old belief that you have with something that is, for example, like in my last video with the example, right, about the FSA, this and that. And by the way, I did call earlier, and the lady said that, oh, we didn't really see your upload. So the item I received from Walmart actually works beautifully. You are good. You don't even need to do anything else. Your case is closed. Literally, that was it. So my point is, I was all worked up the night before, right, last night. And I was looking at this whole entire process. So simple, so relatively unimportant event. But I took it to the heart because I took it so personally, which was not really about me, right? So when I recognized that, my perception shifted. And then I have all those emotions, still feeling like pissed off and what the, little like WTF, like what's going on? And all those emotions, I have to release them. And I have to forgive myself, like letting myself to dwell in that type of emotion. And I can't control it. And even the feeling of not being able to control my emotions is frustrates me, okay? So I have to process all of that. And then how do I, after release them, how do I replace with what? I'm replacing just the acknowledgement and affirmation of the fact that I am becoming more aware, that I choose to be in the alignment with the oneness. Therefore, I am going to become even more aware and elevate my energy and to become more compassionate. So that is what I replace with all those, right, craziness, anxiety, panic attack. Well, not so much of a panic attack, but definitely feeling very anxious and fearful, defensive, right? All those emotions are all coming all together. It's like a big old ball, right? So I replace that with that affirmation. I will call that affirmation because I really want my subconscious to understand that if I have the ability to learn something from the past and be able to rewire my brain with something else, just like the neuroscientists always said that now the neuroplasticity, the way our brain is able to learn and create new neural pathways is totally, completely possible now, then I know for the fact that when I choose to rewire my brain, I can rewire my brain and learn something completely new according to me, what makes sense to me. That considered to be positive. That's considered to be powerful and self-empowering belief, right? That I can rewrite my life by rewriting and rewiring my subconscious by doing so. So that's why the last step to replace with your new perception, your new belief, your new idea of what you want to see you to become, and not telling you to set something that is so far-fetched or so abstract. No. Give yourself something that is more tangible, that your brain will feel like, okay, this is feasible, this is possible, this is something that I can see myself, that my brain will be gladly accepting that suggestion or affirmation. Okay, so not only with the new concept or belief, but also you have to be able to attach with a new sense of emotions and feelings. So again, it's not just about a thought, it's not just about an idea, it's not just about affirmation or declaration, but also you want to associate something that's more positive, that you can genuinely can feel that good feeling as you are implementing this new concept, new perception. So when I said that, I choose to stay in alignment as long as I could, as often as I could from now on. By doing so, I will be able to be more compassionate towards others and towards myself. That my awareness will become so easily to guide me throughout the day, and to be able to notice and see, or to be able to discern the difference between the truth and the lies, because of that awareness has been rising up higher, that I can truly benefit of it, like benefit from that whole process. So I have to be able to say something, but literally you have to say something to make yourself, your subconscious, to make yourself believe that this is totally doable. So that's why it is important. You have to be able to remember to incorporate the new positive feelings or emotions or even sensations in your body, to plug it together with the new perception or affirmation or suggestion that you are putting in to that last step. Okay, I think I talked enough for right now. But I hope that this will be able to easy for you to be able to see the steps, right? Tune in, mindfulness practice. Eventually awareness will come up more frequently. It will be a lot more easier for you to slow down your brain to receive for what things are truly happening, right? Then your perception will start to shift. As you do that, there will be a big conflict. Big conflicts about how you feel, what you understand, and what is truly going on within you that is so conflicting, that you feel so confused and frustrated, right? That was the important phase, right? Acknowledge the feelings and all that good stuff, meaning all those crappy feelings, right? Acknowledge them, embrace them in a loving way, then release it. Then you want to be able to release them all by using the tools, and then reprogram it, right? Rewire your brain with a new way of, new sets of lens and seeing the world that you are seeing. Have a different approach, different response, positive response to something very similar that will happen in the future. Something that your brain, yourself, will not reject Rather, we'll be able to embrace and see it's totally possible along with some positive emotions and feelings. That's it for now. Until next time. Have a good day.